Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk. Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host for the day, Erin Darling, bringing you all the latest news and our insight about what it all really means. And joining us today, as always, is AMC Editor-in-Chief, Mr. John Campea.
Good morning, Erin. Greetings and salutations, everybody. I am Campea of Canada, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. It sounds a lot cooler when Tom Hiddleston says it. Yes, I know. Or maybe Helena Bonham Carter. I don't know. But yeah, that's my greeting today.
And also joining us today is film critic for the popular film site, JoeBlow.com, Mr. Jimmy O.
Thank you. And yes, I am obsessing about Helena Bonham Carter today.
We were just talking about a lot off camera.
Pretty much, yeah. She's amazing.
Pretty much. All right, guys, are you ready to get started?
Let's get going.
As most of you know, the newest installment of the Star Wars franchise, Star Wars Episode VII, is set to hit AMC theaters in the summer of 2015 with Star Trek director J.J. Abrams at the helm. Now, this weekend at Star Wars Celebration Europe convention, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy finally officially confirmed that legendary composer John Williams is set to return to compose the score for the new film. Williams has composed iconic Hollywood scores such as Superman, Close Encounters, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws, Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, and obviously Star Wars. So, John, how significant is the return of John Williams?
You literally cannot overstate the importance of the return of John Williams. You know, we've talked before, like Jimmy, you and I have actually talked before about how, you know, the importance of bringing Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher back isn't so they can have big roles, because I don't think they'll have big roles, but it's because having their presence there will make it feel like Star Wars again. Even if they're only on screen for a minute, it will instantly feel like we're home and we get to start the healing process from that wretched set of prequels. But even almost as important as Harrison Ford's presence, almost as important of all of them put together, maybe even more so, is the presence of John Williams. When you sit in a John Williams film, specifically a John Williams Star Wars film, the music of Star Wars is a character in and of itself. Nothing sets the mood and the tone like a John Williams score. Like, even in these dreadful car wrecks of prequels, there was still Duel of the Fates. You know, one of the best Star Wars pieces of music Williams has ever composed. Brilliant piece of music. And that's what he brings to this. So him being present, I say, was essential. It was essential to have him there, because if it was another composer, it just wouldn't feel right. Now, obviously, Williams isn't 27 years old anymore. I have that on good authority. So he can't do these films for another 20 years. But at least start this new era of Star Wars with John Williams composing, I think is great. I think it's brilliant. As a fan, I couldn't be happier. So thumbs up. I'm really happy about it. What do you think, Jimmy?
There is no Star Wars without John Williams.
Agreed.
There is none. When I read that, I'm like, well, yeah. I don't care what they change. Honestly, I don't. I mean, even with like you said, those god awful prequels, it had his music, and at least it felt slightly, a little bit like Star Wars. But yeah, no, absolutely not. He's an integral part. I would say more so than even Ford, because, you know, they're getting up in age and they're going to have a part, I hope. Yeah. But I can't imagine a Star Wars film without John Williams.
Yeah.
Can't.
Ever since 1987, a lot of fans have been patiently waiting for a new movie incarnation of the popular 80s cartoon series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Now, several attempts have been made over the years, and recently G.I. Joe Retaliation director John Chu was set to bring the new film to life. However, it looks like fans may need to be a little more patient. In a recent interview, Chu reviewed that it looks like the next G.I. Joe film is going to take priority, and Masters of the Universe will have to wait for a few more years unless the studio decides to move on with this movie without him and enlist a new director. So, Jimmy, what do you think? Should He-Man wait for John Chu, or should they just go on without him?
I think they should wait, simply because are we really, like, in desperate need to have He-Man right now?
Yes!
No, we are not. No, and you know, the reason, sure, they could replace him. Sure, they could get a director that would do a good job. I kind of like Chu's passion for it. Every time I read about it, he just seems so invigorated by it. I'm hoping he can bring that to the finished project. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I watched the cartoons when I was a kid. I'm excited, but I can wait. Let's wait just a little bit.
While I concede to your point that it is really refreshing to read about Chu's passion for the project, it's undeniable. He is passionate about this project. But so was the dude who directed the first Dungeons and Dragons movie, and we all remember how that turned out. Here's the thing: I have the power. Damn it! I want to see this movie so bad and so quick. But here's the thing: Just be patient. We've been patient since 1987.
Yeah,
we've been waiting a long, long time for this. And here's the thing. While it is great to have this iconic director of such films as Step Up and Justin Bieber's Never Say Never.
That movie was terrible. Oh, my God. I mean, people told me to go see that just because it was good.
You know
what?
What? It wasn't as bad as I thought
No,
it would be.
it was as bad.
I agree. It wasn't as bad as I thought either. But I did leave the screening. I did leave the screening, yes.
But I'm going to say this. G.I. Joe Retaliation, while certainly an improvement on the first G.I. Joe film, it was not good enough to make me go, no, we need to have this guy direct the Masters of the Universe. John Chu is the guy. I haven't seen anything yet.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I liked it more than you did, but I definitely think, I don't know, man. I'm just sold on the guy's passion. I really am. And that I'm hoping for the best.
I do think that's important for a director, though. I really, really like to see someone get fired up about a project. But, I mean, could someone else do it? I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Does John Chu have to do it? No.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's do Masters of the Universe. I want to see Battle Cat taking a dump on somebody's lawn. That would be the Michael Bay version. That would be the Michael Bay version.
I know, right?
I know it'd be funny. Have Battle Cat take a dump on Skeletor's lawn.
And there would be a pee joke somewhere.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show called Buy and Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Erin's got a bunch of other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then Jimmy and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Erin, what do we got?
All right, first up, it has been officially announced that Vin Diesel has signed up to play the lead role in the upcoming Universal Pictures project, World's Most Wanted. Now, no details on the project have been revealed other than it will be an action-adventure film. Now, Neil Mortiz is producing alongside Diesel, and together, the pair has previously launched both the Fast and Furious franchise and the XXX franchise. Now, John, buy or sell? What do you think about how this sounds with World's Most Wanted?
Oddly enough, I'm going to buy it. And here's why. This is in Vin Diesel's wheelhouse. And while XXX turned into a giant mess, the first one was pretty good. Fast and Furious franchise is obviously a franchise that's got better and better. It took the big step once it had The Rock in it. But yeah, for me, this is in his wheelhouse. This sounds like it's in his comfort zone, and he seems to do well in these types of things. So I'm going to say for World's End, it's a buy. Jimmy?
I hate to agree with you on this one, but yeah, I'm going to buy it too. Vin Diesel's he's taking some very calculated turns in his career. He seems to know what he's doing. And he knows action.
Because he went in through a dark period where he tried a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, and it was terrible. But he's really turned it around.
Yes,
I think he's gotten smarter. I think he's gotten older. And I think he's gotten wiser. So why not? Sure.
Agreed.
So, at the aforementioned Star Wars Celebrations Europe Convention, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy, oh my God, I love her, guys. Also, she's my girl crush. I love her. Also took some time to talk about how using real-world effects, sets, props, and locations was going to be a priority for the new Star Wars film to go alongside the CGI effects that we'll obviously be seeing. During her interview, Kathleen said the following: "It's using model makers, it's using real droids, it's taking advantage of artwork that you can actually touch and feel, and we want to do that in combination with the CG effects. We figure that's what will make it real." So, Jimmy, are we buying or selling the new Star Wars, putting an emphasis on practical effects?
Can I buy more than buy? Is there something like extreme buy? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the film I think we wanted to see, not a CGI mess. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can do CGI, but it didn't work with those 3 films, whatever. I wasn't a fan. I love the idea of returning to kind of that world that made the first 3 so amazing.
I'm going to sell this. I'm going to sell this with a little asterisk on there. I'm going to sell the idea of putting emphasis over CGI effects with practical effects, because here's the thing: movie fans love to romanticize how great practical effects are. I'm sorry,
'cause they are.
Skeletor looked like crap. Skeletor looked ridiculous. He just did. All right, CG, when done right, works better than practical effects in the right context.
Lord of the Rings. They used a nice balance.
Yes,
it was a nice balance.
It
needs to be a balance.
Because there are those times when, look, if a guy's wearing something or if he's holding something, whatever, and if you can put the real thing in his hand and it looks right, go for it. I think the thing with George Lucas in the prequels was part of it was that he had this imagination for 40 years about what he really wanted to do on the big screen, and all of a sudden he had all the toys to do it and just went a little nuts. And granted, I probably would have too. But the weaknesses of the prequels, I will defy you, did not come from the overuse of CG. It came from the underuse of story and narrative and common sense. But yeah, so I mean, I like the idea. Use practical effects when they are practical to use, and use matte paintings, use models, use sets when they work, but don't put an emphasis on them that, hey, despite the fact that CG would clearly work better here, we're going to make a model. Just make sure you don't do that, and I'm fine.
By the way, you guys, I recently watched Beetlejuice, and that movie looks crazy now.
I know, right? I just watched that too. I love that movie.
You're like, what the hell? What year was this made?
I love it, though.
It's a classic. All right, on to the next topic. So we all knew that a Lance Armstrong movie would inevitably be in the works, but did you know that we'd be getting 4 of them?
We need 4!
Yeah, we need 4 of them, apparently. And of the 3 already announced projects, our director Jay Roach's project with a screenplay by Scott Z. Burns, a Paramount Pictures and Bad Robot production that adapts the book Cycle of Lies. And the 3rd film is a documentary currently titled The Armstrong Lie by Sony Pictures Classics. Now, a 4th film seems to be ready to go into production, and this one is starring Ben Foster as Armstrong. So, Jimmy, are we going to buy or sell all of these Lance Armstrong movies? What's going on?
It's weird. I don't know. I think I'm going to sell this. Although I like Ben Foster, and I think he's probably one of the best actors working in film. Period. Mm-hmm. I don't know if do we need 4 films about. One's a documentary, so that's fine. But that's 3 narrative films. I don't know if we need that many. But you know how it is. It's whether it's penguins one year or natural disasters the next. Mm-hmm. We always have that kind of going on. Is it really that interesting of a story is the question? So, no, I sell it.
I like the idea of a Jay Roach Lance Armstrong movie.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a Bad Robot take on a Lance Armstrong movie. I like a documentary idea of a Lance Armstrong movie. And like you, I love Ben Foster, and I'd love to see his.
Great.
We don't freaking need 4.
Nope.
We don't need 4 Lance Armstrong movies. Maybe 1 narrative and 1 documentary. I can live with that. But come on, studios, just bite your bottom lip and say, okay, we got beat to the punch on this one, and gracefully bow out. We don't need 4. This is
and just wait till
ridiculous.
Lifetime Movie of the Week. They'll make 1 too, and it'll be 5, 6.
TV's fine. TV's fine. You want me to TV? That's fine. But I just don't get why they all have to jump on this bandwagon. It's just ridiculous.
Do we know release dates for all these projects? I mean, are we getting them all in like 2015?
They'll probably open the same weekend.
May,
considering
July,
no one's going to care by
August.
2016,
yeah.
I got a feeling it'll be by 2015.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow, it's going to be a great year for movies, guys. Punctuated by a lot of Lance Armstrong. All right, moving on. Did you know that a new Beverly Hills Cop TV show was in production and that the show would star Tropic Thunder and Percy Jackson's Brandon T. Jackson in the lead role as Eddie Murphy's son, with Murphy also appearing in the show? Well, it doesn't matter if you didn't know about it, because after shooting the pilot to several networks, nobody picked up the show and it's now dead. However, according to the show's producer, the pilot tested so well that Paramount has ordered the development of a new Beverly Hills Cop movie with Eddie Murphy on board and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol writers Josh Applebaum and Andre Nemec to write the script. So, Jimmy, buy or sell a new Beverly Hills Cop movie?
Well, obviously, you got to buy it to a certain extent because that's all, Hollywood's just the king of remakes now. Mm-hmm. I think I'm kind of leaning slightly towards sell. I do like the idea of Brandon Jackson. I think he's great. I love his energy. I think he's a perfect choice. I would probably see it just to see him and Eddie Murphy together. I would probably see it, but I'm not completely sold yet. I have to see more.
I gotta sell this.
Yeah.
Like you, Jimmy, I really do like Brandon T. Jackson.
He's great.
I liked him in Tropic Thunder. I actually really liked him in the Percy Jackson
Yeah,
movie.
he's funny. He has humor. I like him a lot.
But come on. How? Look, you say in one breath, oh, it tested so well that Paramount wants to do a movie. Really? It tested so well that none of the networks you pitched this show to wanted to pick it up? No. That's how well it tested? No, I mean, let this thing go. I mean, I understand the nostalgia factor. I understand.
That's all it is right now.
It is.
That's all it is.
And look, and if you're going to do it, you have to bring in Eddie Murphy. You can't reboot it. You got to bring in Eddie Murphy and say it's a continuation. I get all that. But this is something I'm not interested in. I don't think many people are going to be interested in this. So for me, sadly, this is a big sell.
No. Did you like the first one? The original?
I did.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the few people I actually think I preferred the second one too. I like the second one even more.
A lot of people do. A lot of people
Whatever happened to Judge Reinhold?
Oh my God!
So
that's such a good question. I love him.
Yeah,
I'm
Vast
sure.
Times at Ridgemont High.
I know there's got to be some roles, like some dad roles out there for him to play someone's like uptight dad, right? He could be a sitcom dad.
I want
to
see this
like,
guy as a strung-out meth addict.
You're so mean.
No, I mean for
he probably is right now. He probably is, just because you said that. I'm sorry, Judge, if you're watching.
Love you, Judge.
Love you. All right, so Columbia Pictures has released 2 different poster designs for the upcoming Tom Hanks film, Captain Phillips, directed by Paul Greengrass, who also directed such films as The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Ultimatum, and United 93. Now, the film tells the story of Captain Richard Phillips and the 2009 hijacking of his ship by Somali pirates, the first American cargo ship to be hijacked in 200 years. Really? 200 years?
200
yeah,
years.
That's a long time.
That's
so
long
these
time.
pirates have just been taking it easy, guys. All right. Well, John, so what do you think? Buy or sell these posters?
I buy these posters so enthusiastically. These posters are 2 things I really like to have in my posters. Number one is have an artistic eye to them. And when you look at both of these pictures, they definitely have the artistic form to it. But the most important thing to me in a poster is, does the poster capture the spirit of the movie? And does it almost tell the story of the movie in a single image? And I look at both of these posters and I'm like wowed by both of these factors. Now, does that mean Captain Phillips is going to be the best movie of the year? I mean, no, not necessarily. But Tom Hanks is going to be in 2 of probably the top 10 movies of the year with Saving Mr. Banks and Captain Phillips. I think it's a movie about the Mary Poppins writer taking over a Somali ship. I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm getting my narratives mixed up. But no, to me, these posters are brilliantly designed posters. I love them, so for me, it's a buy.
Buy, absolutely. It like you said, it captures the essence of the film. At least from what I've seen from the trailers, it looks great. It looks like he's going to have one heck of a year.
Yeah, great year for Tom Hanks.
They both look great.
Has there been a Tom Hanks movie that you guys thought totally sucked?
The Terminal.
Not just didn't like, but sucked.
The Terminal.
Really?
It's the one Steven Spielberg bad day at the office for me. I really didn't like The Terminal, which is weird because I know a lot of people really, really love it. And I wanted to like it so much. But
yeah.
What about you?
There's been quite a few actually. I mean, The Burbs. I wasn't a big fan of The Burbs.
That was the 80s.
Yeah.
We can forgive the 80s, right?
Was the one he just did with Julia Roberts? Like, not the Thomas Crown Affair, but Larry Crown? Was that what it was called?
Oh, no, I know what.
Larry Crown, yeah. That one didn't work so well.
Yeah. It was okay, but...
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email it to us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we get like 1,000 questions from you guys a week, so we get through as many as we can. So right now, Aaron's got a couple of messages pulled out of the mailbag. So, Aaron, what do we got?
All right, so Joey Mithen writes, "Hey guys, I was wondering if it's possible for Peter Jackson to make a solo Aragorn film after The Hobbit, because there is a lot that the Lord of the Rings trilogy never talked about, like how Aragorn found Gollum and had him stay with the elves. So what do you guys think?"
I really don't like the idea. It's a really good question, but I really don't like the idea at all because number one, I just don't like prequels in general, and The Hobbit, once again, is not a prequel. The Hobbit came first. Anyway, I'm not big on prequels and going back, but how many times are we going to go backwards into The Lord of the Rings, into areas that we've already kind of covered and left behind? Now, I was fascinated by the question at first because I thought he was asking, hey, what about a standalone Aragorn film about what happens after the end of The Lord of the Rings? Okay, now he's king. Now he's responsible. Now he's got this kingdom. What happens now? That I was kind of interested in, but even then, I think Peter Jackson wants out of Middle-earth. I mean, remember, he didn't really want to direct the Hobbit films. He wanted these films made, but he didn't want to direct them himself. He had Guillermo del Toro was going to direct them until it was delayed so much that Guillermo del Toro had to take off to go do Pacific Rim. So I don't think we'll ever see Peter Jackson do another Hobbit film, whether it's about Aragorn or the Hobbits or Gollum or, I don't know, Gandalf's nurse or whatever. It's just I don't think we're going to see Peter Jackson do anything more again with it. Jimmy, do you see
maybe Gollum the musical? That might be.
Wow.
I would see. No, he's done. He's absolutely done. I think that just changed his life in so many ways. It's an exhausting process to make those movies, 3 of them in a row. I can't imagine him going, yeah, let's do it again.
Yeah. And when you're a creative filmmaker like he is, and you're working on, like, forget Lord of the Rings. Let's just look at The Hobbit. When you're working on this for 5 years, that's 5 years that you can't work on other things. And I think he's like, okay, I've served the Tolkien fans now. I can move on and do my other stuff. And I think that's what he's going to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me too.
I agree. I'm bored of mining all the same material from one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not bored though. I love The Hobbit.
Oh yes, me too.
I loved it. Yes, you know that about me. So
I loved it too.
You did?
I did.
Nice.
But I like Hollywood to think of new ideas. Like, I want us to generate some more content that's original, that's not out of the same movies over and again, prequels, sequels.
I'm going to make things. I get emailed that a lot of people saying we want more original stuff. We want more original stuff. And a few months ago, I think you might have been on the show. So I pulled up this list of all the films, the next 40 films that were opening wide, and we went down them. And out of the 40, I think 7 were either sequels or remakes.
Yeah.
The other 33 were completely original. And I think we lose track of that. I think we just highlight the fact that the very popular ones are the ones that we recognize because we recognize them, and thus they're popular. But Hollywood cranks out an awful lot of original material still. Probably more now today than they ever have when you look at the overall number of films that get released every year.
Especially this year, it seems like.
Yeah, especially this year. All right, what's next?
Next up, we've got Joseph Lee writing in to say, hey guys, love the show. I've been watching for 3 hours and I'm already hooked. My question is, now that DC and Warner Brothers are finally on track to making a movie universe that'll be able to compete with the Marvel movie universe, do you think we will see them trying new, not as well-known characters in their upcoming movies? For example, Green Arrow, Nightwing, Hawkman, like Hawkeye was in Thor, and Black Widow was in Iron Man 2. I think DC has got so many great B-list characters that would do well in a movie. What do you guys think? And keep up the great work.
It's a great question, the one that's brought up a lot of times, but I really don't think so. I think right now DC's in a position where they feel like they want to hit everything out of the park. I think especially after the debatable failure of Green Lantern.
I think they have to.
I absolutely think they have to.
Yeah.
And I think they're committed to having, they've been saying this for a long time, this is what we've been hearing, is that they're committed to having a 5-member Justice League to start with. And if that's the case, it ain't going to be any of the B-list characters. They're going to go with their heavy hitters. They're obviously going to go with Superman. They're obviously going to go with Batman. They're obviously going to go with Wonder Woman. They're going to fit her in there somewhere, whether she has a standalone film or not. They're probably going to go Flash. They're probably going to have Green Lantern. And if not any of them, then you're probably going to slip in an Aquaman, or you're probably slip in a Martian Manhunter. They're going to put these characters in. And if once they get beyond Justice League, if everything is firing on all cylinders, then maybe they'll start looking at these secondary characters. And you're right. Some of these DC secondary characters are brilliant and could be fantastic. But because of their past failures, Warner Brothers, DC has to be very, very careful how they navigate the next couple of years. Jimmy, how do you see it?
I want Aquaman. It's a weird. I love Aquaman.
Oh my gosh.
He can talk to sharks. That's cool. I'm so looking forward to this. Hearing you say all those names, I'm kind of like, yeah, let's do this. But yeah, I think they have to go for the right notes, and they can't. They gotta be careful. They gotta be careful.
For now.
They haven't had enough. Marvel has been at this for a long time cinematically, so they got a couple more movies. I think they can do that maybe.
Once Marvel knocked Iron Man out of the park, and knocked Thor out of the park, and knocked Captain America out of the park, and had Justice League. Once they had all that success, then they could say, okay, Edgar Wright, come on in here and do Batman. Now let's talk about doing Doctor Strange. Now let's talk about doing Black Panther. They have handled this so right, and now they're expanding at the right time. DC needs to follow that kind of.
Although what he's saying is maybe smaller roles, and that's possible. That I think they might do that a little bit, but I think the focus is going to be on the big guys.
Yeah, I don't even think they're going to hint at other guys until they get their big ones established.
I don't think so.
My one question here is Green Arrow, though.
Well, see, that's a question that comes up a lot is what about Green Arrow? Because right now we've got this TV show.
Yeah,
that's doing really, really well.
Well,
and that character...
That might hurt it, though.
Doing that well.
Well, they got a second season.
They got a second season, but if you look at the overall statistics and the ratings... by the way, I don't watch many shows on TV. I watch Green Arrow, or Arrow, as it's called. I love Arrow. Actually, I got to go down and hang out and party with Stephen Amell a few weeks ago with Ann, and had a really good time at it. But here's the thing. I made this joke before, but it's true. Arrow right now is really successful on the CW network, but being a successful show on the CW network is like saying I'm the toughest guy in third grade.
Yeah.
It does because the ratings, when you compare them to the bigger networks, Arrow's like I think rated somewhere around 38th to 50th, somewhere like that. Yeah. So that's good for CW. And it'll get you a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth seasons because look at one of my my absolute favorite show on TV right now
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Is Supernatural. Supernatural, my favorite show on TV right now. But it's and it's going on to its 8th season. Yeah. But its ratings have always been compared to the other networks really quite low.
Yeah, CW
but
doesn't
good for
get
CW.
That. They don't get those high ratings.
No, and they don't need them because the way they budget their shows and do them, they don't need them. The way they market their shows, they don't really need them. But can you? And here's been my big argument. If nobody is watching Arrow on TV for free, will they then dish out $10 to go watch him in a theater? I don't think so. I think if we do see a Green Arrow, and I've said this before, in a Justice League or somewhere in the DC movie universe, I don't think it'll be Stephen Amell. I think it'll be a movie version
He'll be
of
recast.
him. Much like Smallville had their Smallville universe,
Tom Welling,
and the movies had Superman. And I think they'll probably do the same thing if they ever do something like this with Green Arrow. But it would be cool because, folks, watch Arrow. Just watch. It's free. It's on TV. Just watch it. It's so good.
But then I have to turn my TV on and watch
That's all that exercise.
that's too much.
Lifting up that remote, it's heavy.
All right, folks. So listen, that'll do it for us. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, while I've got you, and before you do anything else, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel to keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. And listen, if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. And go on out and see a movie tonight. There's tons of really good films playing right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. I want to thank, first of all, our lovely guest host today, Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Erin A. Darling or on YouTube, Erin Ashley Dean. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for being had. And, of course, our regular around here, the one and the only from JoeBlow.com, Mr. Jimmy O. Jimmy, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Jimmy to the O, and not a two, the actual word. And, of course, Facebook, James Oster, O-S-T-E-R. Have fun.
And you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia, and until next time, bye-bye.